I was playing Fallout 4 for the 10 billionth time the other day and noticed that stim packs are way too fucking expensive. I mean, over 1,500 caps for a handful of stims? There's no way in hell I'm paying that. Looking at these absolutely outrageous prices, I decided I wasn't going to participate in this absolutely horrible healthcare system any longer and find out, can you beat Fallout 4 without healing? Now, the rules for this run are simple. Anything and everything that can heal me is not allowed. This means no stim packs, no water, no food, and no RadAway. The only way I can heal myself is by leveling up, and this is only because there's no real way to prevent myself from leveling up in game. Note that leveling up does not heal radiation damage, so it's important to avoid radiation damage as much as possible in this run. Also, I'm using a mod that skips the beginning of the game because I've played it at least 100 times at this point, and I'm sure you guys have seen it at least a billion times if you watch a lot of Fallout content on YouTube. After creating the most generic character I could come up with, I decided it was time to head into the vault, where I quickly make sure to steal a wedding ring off of the cold dead hands of my husband that was just brutally murdered right in front of me. Making sure to avoid taking damage, I slowly but surely make my way through the vault, picking up everything I can get my hands on. I can't use stim packs, but I can still sure as shit sell them. Finally making my way towards the front of the vault, I grab the Pip-Boy and take the elevator to the surface to face the untold horrors above. Like this guy. The radiation truly has taken its toll on the local wildlife. It clearly senses my disgust as it begins to go on a wild rampage around the neighborhood, slaughtering anything in its sight. I try to talk to it to get it to snap out of its rage, and it tells me about a group of locals nearby that could potentially help me locate my missing son. Naturally, I go to seek out these locals with the purest of intentions, only wishing to— Nah, just kidding. I go to the roof and steal the power armor and the minigun, their only hopes of survival, so I can sell it for a bit of crack money. Now making my way towards Diamond City, I encounter a group of good Samaritans trying to hand out free peanut butter cookies to the people of Concord. I'm allergic to peanuts though, so I blow them up for being insensitive. The shopkeep liked seeing people get blown to bits, I guess, as she gives me a reward for doing so. I continue to find my way towards Diamond City, but I am interrupted yet again by the sound of gunfire. It turns out that a group of soldiers is being ambushed by a bunch of zombies, so I bravely step in to help, single-handedly defeating the zombies. After this, one of the soldiers, named Dance, praises my actions, and seeing how I'm clearly one of the bravest soldiers he's ever met, he invites me inside in a clear attempt to try and get inside my pants. I play along and proceed to rob him blind while he isn't looking. Once I'm done looting all of their essential supplies, I tell him if he wants to get inside my pants, he's going to have to work for it, and that I want to be taken on a date first. Desperate, he invites me to a nearby robotics factory for a nice dinner, but we are quickly ambushed by a team of professional cockblockers. They unfortunately make quick work of me due to my terrible positioning. Angry that these robotic freaks ruined the mood, Dance brutally sends them all to the big scrap heap in the sky. This turns me on, so I try to find a quiet place for us to get freaky and run across a massive rocket engine. I tell Dance to wait there while I put on some sexy music for us, but I accidentally end up pressing the wrong button and setting the entire room Dance is in on fire. At this point we both decide to cut our losses and head out. I quickly go to loot a nearby Fat Man, but am ambushed by more of the sentient toasters from before and die embarrassingly quickly. After reloading, I decide to stick with Dance this time. More of the toasters are there waiting for us near the exit, and we murder all of them. After making it back to the surface, Dance gives me his gun to make up for all the embarrassment of the night and invites me to join his cult, the Brotherhood of Steel. Of course, I agree immediately, as joining cults is one of my favorite pastimes, and we split ways for now, as I still need to make my way to Diamond City, but I agree to join back with him later. I finally make my way to Diamond City, where I run into a reporter yapping at some poor soul over an intercom. I shoot her in the back of the head to get her to shut up, and the mayor kindly rewards me for my efforts by opening the gate. Once I'm inside the city, I immediately take an elevator up to the mayor's office, where I hack his computer and rob him of all of his personal belongings. This is becoming a bit of a theme, I know. After I'm done, I immediately flee the town to avoid being caught, and go to hide in a subway tunnel of a nearby park. It turns out, though, that some Italians have taken up residence in my new hiding spot. I tell them that I like putting ketchup on my pasta, and for some reason they immediately open fire on me. I decide to slowly pick them off, as I don't tolerate pasta-based discrimination, and after murdering a dozen or so of them, I eventually come across a giant vault door. I figure there must be riches inside, so I open it, but I'm disappointed to find out that it's just more Italians inside. I continue to murder my way through the vault, desperately hoping to find more riches on their corpses, but alas, at the end of the vault is just another clanker. He claims he can help me find my son, whom honestly at this point I had already forgotten about, so I decide to help him escape from the mafiosos and get him back to Diamond City. Just as we are about to make it out of the vault, we are stopped by some morbidly obese man and his girlfriend, Darla. I decide I've had enough of the mob for one day and just blow them all to hell. After killing the mob, we successfully make it out of the vault, where the robot tells me to meet him back in his office in Diamond City, and seeing as how I have nothing better to do, I agree. Meeting him back in his office, I start telling the robot, Nick, about my kidnapped son and how my husband was murdered right in front of me. Nick tells me to stop trauma dumping and asks if I want to go kill a local child trafficker named Kellogg instead of being a whiny bitch. I say fuck it, and we start hunting him down, tracking him down to a local shithole in the stands. We find a secret room in Kellogg's shack with an assortment of his favorite items, and Nick calls the biggest rat I've ever seen to help us track down Kellogg's scent. Surprisingly, this actually works, and we track him down to an old military fort filled with more clankers. These guys will really fuck me up if I'm not careful, so I use superior tactics and reasoning to determine that standing directly in front of them is indeed the smartest play. Slowly making my way towards the bottom of the fort where Kellogg is, I run into more and more robots. They actually do a decent amount of damage, and by the time I get to the lower floors, my health has basically been whittled away to nothing. This actually gets a little scary, as at this point, 1 or 2 shots from the synths would immediately kill me, so I had to take things a little bit more seriously in this section. I knew I wasn't going to be able to level up by the time I got to Kellogg, so I had to come up with a plan on how to deal with him with my measly HP. As I got closer and closer to Kellogg, I ran across something I thought would help me significantly in the fight to come. A Fat Man and a mini nuke, along with an assortment of ammo and other guns. I also picked up one of the stealth books while I was here, because, why not? Finally making my way to Kellogg, I enact my genius plan. I pull out the Fat Man, fire, and he survived. In fact, after taking a literal nuclear warhead to the face, he was still at half health. After getting obliterated by fucking Saitama over here, I decide to try again, and again, I die immediately. The next time I tried throwing some nades before I used the mini nuke, and this time I got a lot closer, but I still don't kill him. The 4th time I try, I don't even think my character got shot. I'm pretty sure my character literally just had a heart attack. The 5th time, I finally remembered that I had sold Preston's minigun for meth way earlier in the run, and decided that this was the perfect time to use them. This time, Kellogg and the other synths didn't stand a chance, and I successfully managed to kill him. I steal Kellogg's brain as a trophy and learn that my son has been taken to the Institute, a mysterious organization of scientists located somewhere in the Commonwealth, but no one knows where exactly they are or what their intentions are. Nick laments that we're kind of out of options and suggests that we go back to talk to Piper, the reporter that I shot in the head earlier, to see if she could help, and seeing as how I had literally no other options at the moment, I agreed. However, on our way out of the fort, a massive blimp appears in the sky telling the people of the Commonwealth to join the Brotherhood of Steel's cult. I think officially joining the Brotherhood sounds a hell of a lot more fun than talking to some annoying reporter, so I head back to the police station where I met Dance earlier. Dance invites me on a sightseeing tour in his private helicopter, and we end up flying into the massive blimp that we saw earlier. After talking to this annoying asshole on the ship, Lancer Captain Kells, he makes me an official member of the Brotherhood. I go to speak with the leader of the cult, meet a few people around the ship, use a glitch to get into Proctor Tegan's room so I can rob him blind, and take a new suit of power armor that will help a lot with the next few missions. The leader of the cult then gives us a mission to go clear a nearby military fort called Fort Strong to wipe out a gang of super mutants who were guarding a mini nuke stockpile. Dance and I fly over to Fort Strong, where we were attacked by a Mitch McConnell impersonator. After taking care of the politician lookalike and the others outside of the fort, we head inside, only to discover more off-brand Shreks infesting the building, as expected. Most of these guys are pretty easy to take out. We work our way through the top of the fort fairly quickly, killing about 7 super mutants. We take the elevator down to the bottom floor, and this time I have to be a bit more careful. There's a super mutant with a missile launcher that can quickly destroy my health, even with the power armor. Luckily, Dance is insanely overpowered and helps me deal with the majority of the super mutants. After we wipe them out, he talks about how racist he is in a long-winded rant, and I, desperate to get away at this point, quickly make my way back to the elevator and then back to the airship. Back on the ship, Maxon, the Brotherhood leader, congratulates me for killing the super mutants and basically tells me to go do my own thing for a little while, which is exactly what a real military leader would do with their newest recruit in one of the most dangerous places in the world, I'm sure. Maxon is a tactical genius. After this, I figure it's finally time to head back to Diamond City to talk to Nick and Piper, since I basically just got told to fuck off by my senior commander. Once I get there, they tell me that I actually need to go to Good Neighbor, and they had me come all the way to the city for no goddamn reason other than to waste my time. I get to Good Neighbor, and the mayor shows me his knife massaging skills on a local resident. Very skilled, I must say. I walk into the memory den, where Nick and I talk to a doctor about extracting a memory of the Institute from Kellogg's brain. While she's yapping, I make sure to rob the place, as is my tradition. The doctor forces me into a glorified cutscene, where I ignore 99% of the stuff she shows me and go directly towards the end of Kellogg's memories. Here we find out that a scientist named Virgil recently escaped from the Institute so he could get a very quick suntan in the glowing sea. I think a suntan actually sounds pretty nice, so I decide to go into the glowing sea after Virgil. I eventually find Virgil's cave and find out that he is transformed into the spitting image of your mother. After talking with him for a bit, he agrees to help us get into the Institute, but needs us to kill an elite Institute synth called a Courser for some reason. All I really care about is that I get to kill someone, so I immediately went off to find a Courser. I managed to track one down to the Green Tech Genetics building. Unfortunately, the entire building is filled with gunners that are more focused on murdering me than they are with the literal killing machine that's decimating their ranks. The gunners absolutely chewed me up, even with my power armor. I think I actually really underestimated how strong these guys were this time around. I think normally by this point in the game, I'm used to just being able to spam stim packs because I likely have a billion of them, but obviously I'm not able to do that in this case since that would ruin the whole point of the challenge. Luckily, Piper, a true hero, was willing to take the brunt of the attack when it came to the gunner on the bridge with the missile launcher, which I was very thankful for. By the time I made it to the elevator that takes me to the Courser, I was already extremely low HP. My only real hope of killing him would be using a mini nuke cheese, just like I did with Kellogg. Similar to Kellogg, this doesn't work. Apparently the Institute is just cranking out soldiers that can withstand a point-blank nuclear explosion and treat it like they stubbed their toe. After a couple of tries, I managed to get Piper to distract him for long enough to launch 3 entire mini-nukes, finally killing him. No wonder everyone in the Commonwealth shits their pants when they see these guys. They're basically gods among men. Anyways, I rip the chip out of his head and quickly head to my least favorite church, that being the one containing the Railroad. The Railroad is a secret group of guerrilla fighters dedicated to freeing all clankers from the yoke of the Institute, and they also happen to be the only ones capable of decoding the Quartz chip I just got. The fact that they have a path leading to their front door to which the secret password is literally just Railroad, it's really hard to see how these guys have stayed hidden from the Institute for more than 15 minutes. Normally I would just kill these guys outright and decode the chip myself, but I had a feeling I would heavily regret taking them on all at once with no real strategy. Instead, I just got them to decode the chip and head back to Virgil to get the plans for the signal interceptor, which is essentially a teleporter to get into the Institute. Heading back to the Brotherhood now, I get them to help me build the interceptor, which the Railroad doesn't appreciate apparently, as I'm now locked out of all future quests with them. Good riddance though, honestly. Their questline is literally just the Institute's questline, making them one of the least unique factions in the game in my opinion. Anyways, I get the signal interceptor built at the airport, and 5 seconds before I'm about to teleport away, Maxon gives me a critical mission to regain the services of a former Brotherhood scientist that fled to the Institute years ago. You'd think with their services being so critical, he would tell me about her more than 5 seconds prior, but I'm not a military genius like Maxon after all. I teleport into the Institute, make my way down the elevator, eventually finding my son trapped in an aquarium. I try to make a good first impression, but he ends up having a stroke or something. I don't know. I didn't ask. Some old man walks into the room and tries to convince me that he's actually my son. I'm not actually falling for it though, and I end up just leaving him there. After talking to a bunch of scientists who don't know how to shut the fuck up, I then go back to talk to my fake son. It turns out he wants me to bring back a rogue synth named Gabriel who's taken up residence with a raider gang. I sense this will let me murder more people, so I wholeheartedly agree. We make our way to the place the synth is holed up and slowly begin to pick the raiders off. This isn't too difficult as I've upgraded my stealth skill quite a bit at this point, but eventually I make a big mistake. While I was wearing power armor, I accidentally fell into the water. I end up trying for a minute or two to try and get myself out, but I can't see anything and I'm slowly taking a decent amount of radiation damage, which I am completely unable to heal in this challenge. I decide to just cut my losses and abandon my precious power armor at the bottom of the ocean. I get onto the docks and try to slowly fight my way to the top of the big boat, but my hopes and dreams are quickly cut short by me getting disintegrated by a raider with a fat man. I won't lie, I wasn't really sure how to get around this guy. I thought about it for a while, but luckily he actually made it really easy for me by just blowing himself up along with everyone around him. The raiders end up doing a lot of damage to me by the time I get to the captain's quarters, but once I get there, I use very precise movement to glitch myself up onto the very top of the boat. The raiders and Gabriel won't spawn until you get to the top through the captain's quarters, so I use this to place some mines where they'll spawn in the hopes that it'll immediately kill them. Some spoilers, this doesn't work, and it takes multiple attempts for me to even be able to survive the fight. The mines are super buggy and actually despawn after every reload, so I end up having to do the entire setup again every single time it failed. I do eventually get it to work and end up winning though, and the synth gets taken back to the Institute to be tortured for the rest of the time. Getting back to the Institute, my fake son is pleased with the fact that I was able to reclaim the lost synth, and as a reward, lets me go and do the exact same thing all over again, this time at Bunker Hill. The only really interesting thing about this mission is that I basically had to do the entire thing at 1 HP, which I did manage to do successfully on the second try. First try I got absolutely obliterated by a railroad agent, but after that, we managed to successfully reclaim the synths and everything was dandy. This is literally the same exact goddamn mission as before. Why, Bethesda? Did you not think it would be exciting enough if we only did it once? Given how insanely buggy this quest is, honestly, I'm guessing it was just pure laziness, which does seem to be the Bethesda standard over the past 15 or 20 years. After this, I meet fake Sean on the roof of the CIT ruins, where he thoughtfully tells me that he doesn't love me and that I was really just an experiment to him. Touched by this, I immediately start working to get Madison Lee, the former Brotherhood scientist, to come back to the Brotherhood so she can help us blow the Institute to bits. She has me go into Virgil's old lab, fighting off Assaultrons, synths, and turrets to get his recording of Mole Rat ASMR. She ends up agreeing to rejoin the Brotherhood, which is good, because if she had said no, I was probably going to kill everybody in the Institute for making me deal with that shit. I get back to the Brotherhood to try and figure out what the next steps are, and it turns out that we're trying to build a massive robot to take on the Institute. Proctor Ingram tells me that Lee is refusing to work on the robot named Liberty Prime, and I quickly fix this by telling her I'll have her shot if she continues. My companions don't seem to like this for some reason, but honestly, that's okay. Who cares? Once I get Lee back to working on Prime, they decide to have me, a former lawyer with absolutely no engineering experience, build the actuator for Prime's limbs. Why? Who the fuck knows? It seems like 99% of the Commonwealth just sits on their ass all the time, desperately waiting for the sole survivor to come by and do things that they clearly should be doing on their own. I build the stupid goddamn actuators for Ingram, and it literally seconds after this, she decides to send me back into the glowing sea so I can find some nukes. Seriously, what does the rest of the Brotherhood actually do? I'm convinced this was all just some elaborate ploy to try and kill me. I get the nukes, head all the way back to the ship, and when I get there, Maxon has the gall to accuse me of being a traitor despite the Brotherhood riding entirely on my back. He tells me that Dance is actually a synth and orders me to hunt him down or else. I wasn't actually planning on killing Dance when I found him, but as it turns out, he had set up defenses that killed me so many times, I got kind of annoyed and just blew his head off. This is the exact same way I handle minor annoyances in real life too. I head back to the ship where Lancer Captain Kells tells me that we need to take out the railroad. Finally, a fun mission. I head to the church and get to work on killing every single person in there. Once I'm there, I discover that I am literally at 0 HP somehow. I didn't even know this was possible in Fallout 4, but this does lead to me dying quite a few times. Killing the railroad leaders actually ends up taking quite a while and being quite difficult because of one person, Glory. She's an absolute tank. And the only hope I had against her was slowly poking her down with a rifle and just hoping that I could hide for long enough to slowly kill her. Long story short, I managed to kill her and then move on to all the other railroad leaders before heading back to the Brotherhood. As soon as I return, I get sent out on another mission, this time to grab a component needed to run Liberty Prime. Ingram and I head out together on a vertibird, I become enemies with the Institute, and then we arrive at Mass Fusion, which is being invaded by more synths. I'm already at fairly low health when I arrive at Mass Fusion, so I kinda just have to hope and pray that I manage to survive long enough for the vertibird to land on the roof. Luckily, I end up being fine, and I quickly kill the synths to grab the keycard from the desk. I then use the fact that I'm in the power armor to jump to the bottom of the tower, avoiding the elevator segment where you're pretty much completely vulnerable with little you can do about it entirely. We make it to the room with the component we need for Prime, but grabbing it sets off the security system. A massive sentry bot is surprisingly not even really a challenge actually, as it can't reach me in the room I'm in, but the real problem arises once I kill the sentry bot and 2 Assaultrons spawn in. I end up dying a couple of times since literally any hit from the Assaultrons at this HP will kill me immediately, but I eventually use my drug habits to finally get the win over on them. We then take the elevator back up to the lobby, where the synths attempt to ambush us. I do the only smart thing in this situation, and immediately run away as fast as possible so I can fast travel to the airport. I hurry and slide the new component into Prime, and after some tests, Liberty Prime is fully ready to take on the Institute. We approach the CIT ruins, where I bravely sit and do absolutely nothing while the Brotherhood does something for me for once. Prime eventually manages to blow a hole in the ground, giving us access to the Institute so we can blow up their reactor. We're instantly faced by a small army of synths, but to be honest, this wasn't even really a challenge. I mean, seriously, the Brotherhood kinda kicks ass here. I'm almost 100% confident you can get through this entire section without killing a single person yourself. It almost makes me want to take back what I said earlier, honestly. We get to the reactor and make fairly quick work of the synths and the scientists guarding it. I attach the detonator to the reactor, and Ingram teleports us out. My son that had a stroke or something earlier shows up, which just fills me with an overwhelming feeling of joy. I want him to be able to see fireworks for the first time in his life, so I leave him in the Institute so he can have a very close-up view. Eventually, we're teleported to the roof of a faraway skyscraper, where I press the button that activates the detonator on the reactor, the Institute goes up in flames, and we find out that you can indeed beat Fallout 4 without healing. With that, we finally made it to the end of the video. If it isn't super obvious, I'm not really that great at this whole YouTube thing as of yet, but I'm hoping to make more and better content in the future. If you have any suggestions for future content, make sure to leave a comment below. Also, if you could like and subscribe, it would really help the channel out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.